Hey, so we have our goals for the week of 7-8 here. So that's this week. Today is 7-8. It's Monday. So the first thing that we're going to tackle is an introduction to OpenRouter. So on OpenRouter, this is OpenRouter. It is a group of AIs that you can use, and it's based on a pay-as-you-go system. So Poe is similar to OpenRouter in that Poe gives you access to a bunch of different AIs, but Poe is a subscription model that you pay a flat fee for and you can do as much as you want. OpenRouter, on the other hand, is pay-as-you-go. So if you're using really expensive AIs constantly, say you're using nothing but Opus, Claude 3 Opus, it's expensive. You may want to use Poe instead. You will burn through money so fast with OpenRouter if you're using Opus and you're doing a ton every single day. Now, say you're not doing a ton every single day. Say you are coming in and having a conversation maybe once or twice a week, and it's a quick conversation, it's only a few back and forth. No, even if you're using Opus, you're probably not going to burn through so much money. If you're using Opus and you're writing a 60K in a week, you're going to burn through a ton of money. That's when being on Poe would be more beneficial for you. OpenRouter, on the other hand, say you're using Haiku like I mostly use. I will likely never do enough, and I do a ton. I generate probably 100,000 words a month. I'm not ever going to use enough of Haiku to make it worth having a $20 plan, because Haiku is so cheap. So keep that in mind, and let me show you what I mean. So this is activity. We're going to open up, and we're going to open up credits as well. So this is where you would actually go chat, and we'll come back to this. This is the activity. So as you can see, Haiku usually is less than a penny. This is what I was doing a little bit this morning, and then a lot yesterday. And this is through Novel Crafter. So another thing with OpenRouter, you get an API key, which you then plug into things like Novel Crafter. So Novel Crafter does not have its own built-in AI, but you use OpenRouter, which is then put through Novel Crafter so that you have access to the models through OpenRouter, but you pay. So you have access to the models through Novel Crafter, but you're paying OpenRouter. So if you use the AI through Novel Crafter, with OpenRouter supplying the AI, you're paying Novel Crafter and you're paying OpenRouter. If you don't want to use the Novel Crafter features, say you don't write fiction, you don't write novels, you don't need the help with organization, you don't need the chat with scene feature, which I absolutely love. If Novel Crafter isn't something that you use, you can work directly with the AI within OpenRouter. So that would be in the chat box, which is this box right here. Now, this, I do not ever suggest keeping your work here permanently. I will chat here and then I will copy it and put it somewhere else. Now, whether that's Docs or whether it's Word, that's completely up to you, but don't leave it in here. It will not get saved. It may get saved a few times, but it won't get saved long term, so please don't lose your work. So as you can see, like on this day, on June 24th, I spent a little over $1 in 3.5 Sonnet. On this day, I spent 74 cents in Haiku. On this day, I was 18 cents in GPT 4.0. So this is also super helpful so that you can see what your daily spending is. over here, this is how often I top up. So depending on how much you're using it, it can get expensive. But as you can see, if we considered May to be 1 month, which, I mean, yes, it is. But see, May 13th. So I did the 19th of April to the 13th of May, $5. On the 13th of May, I added another $5. 31st of May, I added another $5. June 26th, I added another $5. So for me, I don't use the most expensive models because I don't see a need to. For me, Opus is not that much better than Haiku or 3.5 Sonnet, but I'll show you the differences as far as price. This is your current balance, and then of course this is where we are for the month right now, what we use daily. I like to have this open, especially when I'm playing with a new AI, just to get a feel for how much each thing costs. And then here is where we actually prompt. So I'm going to ask the different AIs for the exact same thing, and we are going to compare them as far as cost goes. We don't really need to look at this. We are going to look at this. So as of right now, I've spent way less than a penny because I've only done this so far today. So everything after this will be us right now. So I'm going to go ahead. We are going to clear the models. We don't need to clear the chat, but if we wanted to clear the chat, that's here. I'm going to start with Opus because it's the most expensive. At least of the ones that I use. We're going to come down here. We're going to max out the tokens. We're going to max out the tap memory. We don't have to do this because we're not going back through and using it for an entire conversation. It's not like we're plotting this book out with Opus. This is just something that I do automatically. I've maxed out these two. So now that we have those maxed out, let's go ahead and let's see here. Just write an opening chapter. It's a fantasy novel. Or she's destined to, I don't know, bring down her kingdom. Information. And she's just left the Oracle and was expecting to find out who she would marry, but then turns out she is going to bring doom and destruction. Poor girl. Okay. Let's do it in third person, past tense. So the AI is very, very fond of the name Lyra. You'll see that. Lyra, Leland, Aiden, Emma, very common AI names. Alright, so it's done. Are we done? Okay. You can go ahead and refresh so that you can see what that cost. That cost 3 cents, so not terrible. Is this worth 3 cents? This is a lot of telling, not really showing. For me, most of this would need to be redone. Pretty much all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. I'm going to turn off Opus. I'm going to add 3.5. Now we're going to be doing Claude 3.5 Sonnet. No. Stop that. Did you see that? It was trying to do Opus along with... No. So Sonnet gave us quite a bit more. Again, her name's Lyra. Lyra and Mira would be really, really annoying. I don't like names that sound the same unless it's a very passing character. So Sonnet gave us more, and I do like it a lot more. And see, it's a lot cheaper. So that we don't have the issue that we had before where Opus decided to start writing. I'm going to go ahead and clear the models. I'm going to do Haiku next because Haiku is what I generally use. Just because it's cheap and it's easy and it generally gives me exactly what I want. So now we have Haiku set. Oh good, her name's not Lyra. Evelyn and Elise would definitely not work. And I'll show you what Haiku costs for that. See, much, much cheaper. I'm going to show you just a couple more. This still needs edits, but at the cost of it, I'm happier with this than I am with Opus for sure. But do you think that 3.5 Sonnet is worth this much more? For me, it's not. For me, I would rather edit Haiku than pay this for Sonnet. Or actually, that was Opus, never mind. I would rather edit Haiku than pay this for Sonnet, but Sonnet's actually not bad. I mean, you're looking at probably a couple dollars to finish an entire novel. Haiku, you can get away with a lot less than that, but it depends on which prose you like more. This one honestly is not bad. This one's not terrible either, but Sonnet might be worth it if you like the prose. I'm going to go ahead and clear the model. Next up, so we did Opus, we did Haiku, and we did Sonnet. We're going to do GPT 4.0. Next, I'm going to max it out as usual. And see, this is exactly what Opus is great for, because you can play with the different ones. You're paying just, or sorry, this is exactly what OpenAI is good for, is you're paying just for OpenAI. Oh my gosh. OpenRouter. OpenAI is like OpenRouter, it's just not OpenRouter. I use OpenRouter, I don't use OpenAI. So with this, you can still write, you can still have your books get feedback, you can still do your editing, you can still outline, you can still brainstorm everything that you would do in Novel Crafter, you can do in OpenRouter without having to pay for that Novel Crafter subscription. I love Novel Crafter. If you write fiction, I absolutely recommend it, but I understand that not everyone can afford it. So that's why I want to give you options. Here is GPT 4.0. Oh, her name's Serafina. It's at least a little different. And yeah, so 4.0 and Sonnet are pretty comparable in price. So keep that in mind. And then you can also see what the parent company is. So Claude is Anthropic, and then GPT 4.0 is, of course, OpenAI. So is this that much better than Haiku? Or is this better than Sonnet? That's something that you'll have to decide when you're working through them. I like comparing prose like this so that I can see what the AI actually does with it and what it maybe has quirks on. You know, if you're seeing a lot of furrowed brows, then you're like, okay, this is something I need to look out for. Most of the AIs have furrowed brows. Most of the AIs have thundering hearts and, you know, swelling pride. That's an AI thing. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. I also want to show you Mistral Large and Toppy. And then that'll be the end of what we'll be talking about today. Of course, max it out. Max this. These are more settings. I don't mess with them. Mistral Large is pricey, so I'll show you that. But Mistral Large will do your not safe for work content. So if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely take a look at it. So Mistral Large, as you can see, it's not terrible. But is it worth the price? It's almost as much as Opus. It's, you know, significantly more than Haiku for sure, but it's also more than Sonnet. And it's more than GPT 4.0. So definitely decide if this is something that is worth paying for you. And if it is, if you're like, oh my god, I love Large, I love Mistral so much, maybe see if it's on Poe. If you're trying it out. So what I would suggest, if you're looking at the more expensive models, is try it out in OpenRouter for a month with your normal writing flow. So if your normal writing flow is a 30K in a week, that's great. If your normal writing flow is, I want to jump in and brainstorm a couple times a week, that's absolutely fine. Test OpenRouter with your normal writing flow. See how much it actually costs you. If you're under $5, like I normally am, then there's no real reason to go to Poe, because Poe is a lot more than that. But if you're constantly having to top it off, like if you start with 5 and you have to top it off, 5 is the minimum that you can do, then maybe Poe is a better option for you if you're constantly burning through credits. But 1 month on OpenRouter so that you can test it out and see what your actual usage is like is a decent gauge before you jump right into Poe. And I'm not saying don't use Poe, I'm just saying be smart. That's it. If you like Poe, Poe has a lot of really fun options, but if you don't use the expensive AIs, then it's not so much worth it maybe. But Poe does have things that OpenRouter doesn't, like it has image creation. It does not have Midjourney. Midjourney is a totally different thing, but it does have image creation. So let me show you Toppy next. Toppy is Toppy. I don't really use Toppy, but I want to show it to you so that you know that there are free AIs, which I'm sure you already know, but let me show you one. Because I don't want you to feel like you have to pay for the AI. If you want to test out AI, absolutely Poe, because you can use a lot of the features for free. OpenRouter, it's $5. And you may have that $5 last a long time. So let's see what Toppy gives us. So Toppy is, this is a lot of telling. This would be pretty much not usable. It's a good idea though. But let me show you Toppy doing an outline instead. Because maybe you don't need it for prose. Maybe you just need it for an outline. See? And maybe that's what you need. Maybe having an AI that gives you an outline that is free is more what you need, and you don't need it for prose, and you're not really worried about what the prose looks like. I'm going to show you this. So see? Toppy, free. So maybe that's the one that you like. We were at 502. We jumped down to 489. Still plenty to get us through for the month. Alright, hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions about OpenRouter, just let me know. I enjoy playing with it. I enjoy comparing different novels or different models. And then when you're done, just clear chat. Clear the models. Clear the models again, please. And that has everything clean and ready for you. You can go to the rankings and see what's current right now. Mythomax is doing really well. Actually, let's try Mythomax too. with the max extended, maybe? I don't know. Let's see what it does. And it's still going. And then it stopped. Okay. So let's see what that cost. Hardly anything. Nice. Still very much a lot of telling, not a lot of showing. For the price, I consider Haiku a better option, but this is definitely a nice option, and it's very cheap. So is that much. This is Haiku. It's about the same. It's very, very minimal. But yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, just let me know. Leave a comment. Would definitely love to help you out. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this cleared up some of the mystery behind OpenRouter. And hopefully you give it a try.